Jack the Ripper's identity may have finally been proven by a recently uncovered Victorian painting, claims a new book. Author of The Inevitable Jack the Ripper, Paul Christian, says the 130-year-old piece contains hidden clues to suggest the artist himself was the notorious East London serial killer, brutally murdering 5 prostitutes in 1888. In the artwork, a person believed to be the Ripper walks towards a woman resembling Mary Kelly, the last of the Ripper's 5 victims. A second woman wears a shawl decorated with many red spots, possibly referring to the 39 times Martha Taborn was stabbed. She is thought to be the killer's unofficial 6th victim, many historians claim. Share this article. Share 52 shares. A set of railings in the artwork also appeared to show the numbers 1888, the year of the Ripper's gruesome campaign. On the back of Sigurd's painting is a sketch which Mr. Christian claims is supposed to be the police chief in charge of the investigation to find the Ripper, Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Charles Warren. Mr. Christian, 36, said, "The evidence I have unearthed can allow us to now confidently point the finger at Walter Sickert and a conspiracy of archetypes behind the Jack the Ripper case." Sickert was certainly a major suspect before this, but there are details in the painting that only the killer could have known. The author is not the only one to suggest such a theory. Writer Patricia Cornwell has published 2 books claiming Sickert to be the real Jack the Ripper: Jack the Ripper, Case Closed, and Ripper, The Secret Life of Walter Sickert. Yet the idea is not believed by many, despite Sickert claiming he lived in Jack the Ripper's old home and painting a scene called Jack the Ripper's bedroom, which included his own figure. Stuart Evans, an expert on Jack the Ripper, disregarded the findings as having a lack of genuine evidence to suggest that Sickert was a murderer, reported The Sun. Other suggestions include Monarch John Druitt, a schoolmaster who was fired in 1888 and died of suspected suicide a month later. Crime historian Dr. Jan Bonderson named Dutch sailor Hendrik de Jong as a prime suspect for the most notorious set of unsolved murders in history. At the time of the Whitechapel murders, de Jong is believed to have worked as a steward on board a ship which made frequent trips from Rotterdam to London. This provided him with the perfect means of getting out of the country after his heinous crimes. He later murdered 2 of his ex-wives in his native Netherlands in 1893 and bludgeoned to death 2 women above a pub before attempting to set their bodies on fire in Belgium in 1898. To this day, Jack's identity remains a mystery. At the time, police suspected the Ripper must have been a butcher due to the way his victims were killed and the fact they were discovered near dockyards where meat was brought into the city. The victims were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Each one was found in the early hours of the morning around Whitechapel. They were all associated with the Ripper as they were all cut at the throat and heavily mutilated. Who was Jack the Ripper? Jack the Ripper is thought to have killed at least 5 young women in Whitechapel, East London, between September and November 1888, but was never caught. Numerous individuals have been accused of being the serial killer. At the time, police suspected the Ripper must have been a butcher due to the way his victims were killed and the fact they were discovered near to the dockyards where meat was brought into the city. There are several alleged links between the killer and royals. First is Sir William Gull, the royal physician. Many have accused him of helping get rid of the prostitutes' bodies, while others claim he was the Ripper himself. A book has named Queen Victoria's surgeon Sir John Williams as the infamous killer. He had a surgery in Whitechapel at the time. Another theory links the murders with Queen Victoria's grandson, Prince Albert Victor, the Duke of Clarence. At one point, cotton merchant James Maybrick was the #1 suspect, following the publication of some of his diary which appeared to suggest he was the killer. Some believe the diary to be a forgery, although no one has been able to suggest who forged it. Other suspects include Montague John Druitt, a Dorset-born barrister. He killed himself in the Thames 7 weeks after the last murder. George Chapman, otherwise known as Severin Kwasowski, is also a suspect after he poisoned 3 of his wives and was hanged in 1903. Another suspected by police was Aaron Kosminski. He was admitted to Colney Hatch Lunatic Asylum and died there. Dr. Thomas Neil Cream poisoned 4 London prostitutes with strychnine and was hanged in 1892. Some of the more bizarre links include Lewis Carroll, author of the Alice in Wonderland books, who taught at Christ Church until 1881, which was at the forefront of the Ripper murder scenery. Winston Churchill's father, Lord Randolph Churchill, has also been named as a potential suspect. Crime writer Patricia Cornwell believes she has cracked the case by unearthing evidence that confirms Walter Sickert, an influential artist, as the prime suspect. Her theories have not been generally accepted. Author William J. Purring raised the possibility that Jack the Ripper might actually be Julia, a Salvation Army soldier. In The Seduction of Mary Kelly, his novel about the life and times of the final victim, he suggests Jack the Ripper was in fact a woman.